Can you imagine there's a big old tall tree standing right behind me last week? It is 20 meters in height and in a stack of 5 double-decker buses. It was fallen, and here's the aftermath. Look at all this. And the poor old owner is still in the hospital as of speaking. So it was crazy. And how could that even happen? So in today's vlog, I would only like to talk about one thing. That is why trees fall. I need an apple. Turns out the reason behind is really simple. Gravity. Now it's just part of the life cycle of a tree. The problem is when there are people and properties down below, can we allow that to happen? Now, trees are biological organisms. That means as years go by, it will grow taller and it will grow wider. Now the gain of height and the gain of weight works against gravity. And the tree has to deal with it every single day as long as they live. Make sense? Here's a little secret. When trees get older, they have more health issues. And when trees get older, they are less responsive to the environment. And hence, the struggle with gravity will become much more difficult for them to handle. And we will come to a tipping point when the tree no longer can handle gravity anymore, and they just fall. Older trees are much more likely to fall than the younger ones. This because they're taller, they're heavier, and they don't recover well from any bad things happen to them. Just like you and I, a tree will die at some point in their lives. That means when we are preserving old trees, we are stretching the biological limits of trees, and they're even more likely to fall than the rest. The question is, when it happened, do we want it to fall on the pedestrian or on the road? So another way to see the problem is to understand the stress a tree will face in an urban environment. Majorly, space and soil compaction. Look at this tree. I'm sure it was smaller when it was planted. So the tree pit itself dictated how big a tree would grow. And when the tree base hits the tree pit, the tree simply has to either crack the structure in order to grow bigger, or other methods to deal with it, while continuing to grow bigger on the upper part. And the base was not getting as wide as it should be. So it's more likely to fall. And not to mention that with the stress they have to deal with it every day, it makes the tree much more vulnerable to all kinds of infections, such as bacteria, fungus, and all kinds of insect borer that live inside the tree. And this will accelerate the fall of the tree as it struggles with gravity. So what are the concluding remarks? Number one, trees fall is because of gravity. Simple as such. Younger trees are able to withstand gravity better because they're shorter, they're lighter, and they're in the rapid stage of growing, so they could respond to any stress much better. And for older trees, those way past their maturity, it's more difficult for them to deal with gravity, simply because they are taller, they're heavier, and they don't respond well to stress, such as all kinds of infections, bacteria, fungus, insects, and human intervention, such as chemicals or any kinds of pruning. They don't respond well to these things. It's just part of the life cycle of a tree that will someday they won't be able to deal with gravity anymore and they fall. The question is, do we want accidents to happen to people and properties when trees fall? So when we are talking about preserving really old trees, we are actually stretching the biological limits of trees. It's 2015, we already have 3 cases of injuries caused by tree failure. It seems to me it's not a biological problem, it's a management problem. It's the way how we manage trees in the city. That's all for this week. I'll see you next clip.